words to remove from your vocabulary so that you have a chance of making the dollars. Sometimes it's so important to know what to say, but equally as important is sometimes these little warnings that will help you have a chance of making the wealth. 90% of the agent force, let's face it, will fail, and I don't want this to be you. So we're going to give you 5 different things to completely remove from your vocabulary so that you have a chance of hopefully making a sale in this time tested and absolutely noble profession. If you're taking notes, I'm going to jump right into it with you. Number one, quit saying repetitive words like okay, okay, or yeah, or gotcha, gotcha. Active listening, crazy important, but if you want to reduce your chance for cash flow, duplicate words. Don't say okay, okay, or yeah, to try to fill words. What your client feels is you basically told them to shut up. And you're like, whoa, are you kidding me? Yes. If you're talking to me and I'm like, okay, okay, or you're talking to me and telling me a story, I'm like, yeah, or gotcha, gotcha. How does that make you feel, my friends? How does it make you feel? Put it in the comments below. Most people feel like that is telling the client, shut up, I don't value you, I need to talk next. And I know we're in a selfish society of talk, sell. That's a very poor place for us to be when we're already positioned as an insurance agent, just a little higher than maybe a cockroach. All right. So be careful in duplicating your words. Be intent on being an active listener for sure, but don't say words twice like okay, gotcha, yeah, absolutely, and then we speak again. What the client hears is, I don't want to hear what you have to say, and I need to speak now. So be cautious of that. That is the number one thing. Number two, don't say, hi, how are you today? I know it sounds great to speak it, but what happens is the client, when we say, hi, how are you today, Mrs. Johnson? All she hears is, I don't know you. What are you trying to sell me? It's very disingenuous. It's not a genuine response or an organic response. The client hears an overwhelming voice in the back of their head, like a creepy little thing saying, okay, this person's asking, hi, how are you today? Because they want to sell me something. What is this about? And it's going to throw you on your heels when you think you're having a very genuine conversation. So it bleeds insecurity. Tip number two, very common mistake that so many final expense telesales agents make, and even life insurance sales agents make early on their career because they think it sounds great to kind of get to know that client by saying, hi, how are you today? You mean well, it comes across really wrong and it can cost you money and dollars in this industry. So if these tips are helping you, before I go into tips 3, 4, and 5, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. And we do recruit agents nationally to sell life, Medicare, and annuities face to face, as well as in the telespace. So free resources for your taking, no matter what work family you call a home, at jasonfinalexpense.com. And I appreciate you viewing this channel. I hope it's helping you. But hi, how are you today is going to hamstring you when you think you're having a great conversation. The client has massive sales resistance that gets created by us saying this word pattern. Now, number three, never call a client back and saying, hi, this is Jason. I'm here to follow up with you. When you say the word follow up, it's a path to failure. Follow up just means, what are you trying to sell me? You're full of you know what. Nobody is here to follow up. Follow up is a failed word pattern that so many insurance agents use when they're trying to get started. Just get down to brass tacks, get to know them. And if you need good word patterns, we can help you. But this is one you want to severely avoid. I'm here to follow up with you. You just want to find your way into my wallet, is what the client is hearing from you. So be real cautious about the word follow up. It's a word that failed agents use. And like I say, 90% of the agent force fails. And I don't want this to be you. I want you to be just one that dominates this industry, not that one that maybe became a casualty of war. And first off, you're not going to be perfect. I've done this industry over 2+ decades, 20+ years, and I'm far from perfect. Just stumbled over my own tongue right there, my friends. Don't be afraid of being proficient. Perfection is great, but you know what? You're never going to be perfect in this industry. So be okay with being proficient. Just get better every day. I'm still in that place 20 years later. So don't beat yourself up. Like I say, half the battle is between our ears. All right. Little spongy thing can either help us find success or can cause distress in us and cost us dollars. So follow up with you. Remove it from your vocabulary. Number 4, if you're taking notes, is don't ask permission. Telesales is all about control. Face-to-face sales equally as much, but you've got to get into a position where you pose the right questions. You don't say, is that okay with you? 50% of the time, they're going to say, no, it's not. Uh-oh, what do I do with that? You've got to be one that knows how to handle your script and knows how to handle your systems. That's why your work family is so important. And so many insurance agents dive into this industry. They don't have a work family to work these little things out. And then they find out that they didn't make it. You got to be one that has work family agents that are there with you to plow you through some of these painful things like you not knowing any better and saying, Mrs. Johnson, is that okay with you? Nope, not right now. Dang it. What do we do with that? That's why you need to drill and practice and rehearse so that you're ready when you hear these kinds of things happen. But don't pose a wrong question and somehow expect a right response. When you're saying, oh, is that okay with you? Nope. Uh, would you like to buy this right now? Nope. Uh-oh, didn't see that coming. Yes, patterning is important, but equally so is knowing how to know pattern to get yourself then in the right track that the client doesn't feel all this massive sales resistance. Training is important to translate a simple business in an easier way, but the business, my friends, is far from easy. You've got to be one that can take pain. And when you're asking for permission every dang time, you're going to get yourself into trouble and cost yourself dollars. You've got to control the call, but you can't sound controlling in the process. Help the client unpack their pain points, their problems, and then if your product is a solution, that's when you help them. All right. But not before that happens. So many folks, they don't even dive into the why of what the client wants. And then they try to get the client to open up their wallet. And you wonder why they think you're this much taller than a cockroach. Maybe that's why we are painted as a high pressure sales agent when we really should be a problem solver that's listening to our consumer without saying, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Hi, how are you today? I'm here to follow up with you and sell you a policy. Don't follow these failed sales tactics in insurance sales. It'll harm you, and I'm going to be intent on giving it to you today. Now, number 5 is you've got to be one that doesn't give up too soon. So many insurance agents will get into a place where they give a script. Moment the person says, I need to think about it, mail it to me. I'm not ready for you right now. I changed my mind. Oh, wow. Insurance agents give up, they get off the phone, and they wonder why they don't find profitability. Success is something that's not guaranteed. You've got to get good at handling your rebuttals in a way that doesn't sound like you're taking it personal. You've got to be prepared, you've got to be polished so that you can handle the objections in a way that you don't internalize it. It's not personal. They're going to say, I'm too busy. They're going to say, I didn't ask for this. They're going to say, I changed my mind. I bought from somebody else an hour ago. And you're like, what? You just filled out this lead form like yesterday. This final expense telesales lead was filled out a day ago. How can you say this? An hour ago. How can you say this? You have to be super prepared so that when they do, you don't sound like you're taking it personal. Handle it in a fluid way, in a very just unattached way so that you can tackle their problem. They need life insurance, most likely. Maybe they've already got it taken care of. Maybe you can focus on mortgage protection insurance sales, or maybe there's an annuity opportunity. You will never know unless you unpack the right questions and keep the client on the phone. The key to keeping that client on the phone is not giving up too soon. Get to know the heart of your client. Get to have the privilege of understanding their problem. And you know what? If your product is the right fit, you may just have a sale. And if it's not, guess what? You got a great practice session. You got to know a great person. This is a great human being that you got the privilege of speaking with, connecting with, and helping with. And if you didn't get a sale, you know what? Don't be sour grapes. Go to the next one, but don't give up too soon. Be prepared to handle every rejection, every rebuttal in such a polished way that's so positive in your response that the client goes, you know what? This was a fun sales call because you want to sound different than every other just stinking salesman that is high pressure tactics, sell, 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 tell, tell, tell. I want you to be a true success story, my friend. So if you're taking notes, don't say okay, okay. It's a redundant word that really gets consumers into a place that they're like, I don't feel you're listening to me, and feelings are real. Don't say, hi, how are you today? Bleeds insecurity. Don't say, I'm following up with you. That's a great path to failure. And don't say, is that okay with you, Mrs. Johnson? It bleeds insecurity because you're giving the client complete control, and that's not how you're going to win in this environment. Be scripted, but be smooth because you've prepared and you're ready to take care of your clients and remove their problems from maybe when you first started the sales call. Don't give up too soon, my friend. Stay on that call. Don't call it quits. And if you've got that warrior like mentality where you're there for the right reasons in this industry, you may love this industry so many years later. Now, if we can do anything to serve you, make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell. If